Imagine this. Every single day, you wake up and step into a routine that feels normal, almost harmless. You check your phone, scroll through social media, answer a few emails, and then dive into your work with a sense of urgency. You believe you're being productive, but in reality, you're unknowingly destroying your own focus, draining your mental energy, and sabotaging your success before the day even begins. What if I told you that the very habits you think are keeping you on track are in fact pulling you further away from your goals? That success isn't slipping from your hands because you lack talent or opportunity, but because invisible traps in your daily routine are silently working against you. Welcome to the channel, Daily Success Hacks. Today, I'm about to reveal something that may feel uncomfortable, maybe even shocking, but it's the truth that few dare to admit. Your life isn't shaped by the big, dramatic events you keep waiting for. It's carved, moment by moment, by the small decisions you repeat every day. And among those decisions, there are 5 insidious habits, so ordinary, so widespread, that most people don't even notice them. Yet, they are the silent assassins of productivity, the hidden thieves of time, and the ultimate reason why dreams die slowly without you realizing. Think about it. Why is it that 2 people with the same talent, the same resources, and the same opportunities can end up in 2 completely different places after a few years? One builds momentum, thrives, and achieves extraordinary results. The other remains stuck, drained, and frustrated, wondering why nothing ever changes. The difference lies not in genius, not in luck, but in the subtle rituals of daily life. One cultivates empowering habits that amplify their focus and creativity, while the other unconsciously clings to destructive routines that chip away at their energy and clarity. And here's the twist. You might already be practicing these destructive habits right now without even realizing. They feel so natural, so ingrained, that you've convinced yourself they're harmless, or worse, necessary. But in truth, they're the invisible chains that keep you from breaking free. Once you become aware of them, you can't unsee them. And once you learn to break them, your life will shift in ways that seem almost miraculous. Your mind will be sharper, your time will expand, and your energy will align with your highest goals. So let me ask you, are you ready to confront these hidden saboteurs? Are you willing to face the uncomfortable truth that what you thought was helping you might actually be holding you back? If the answer is yes, then stay with me until the very end of this video, because what you're about to discover might just change the way you live, work, and succeed forever. But before we dive deeper, I want to ask for your support. If you find value in what we share here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Your support is what keeps this channel alive and motivated to bring you more insights, more breakthroughs, and more tools to transform your life. This journey isn't just about watching. It's about becoming. And together, we can break free from the invisible traps and step boldly into the life you were meant to live. We often imagine productivity as a battle against distractions coming from the outside world, but the truth is, the real enemy often comes from within. It is not always the endless emails, or the noise of the city, or the sudden requests from others that tear us away from our work. It is the silent, unconscious habits we carry into each day that quietly steal our time and erode our potential. And perhaps the most destructive of all is the habit of beginning the morning already plugged into a stream of noise. The moment the alarm goes off, countless people reach for their phones. They convince themselves it's harmless, just a quick glance at notifications or a momentary scroll before the day begins. But in that fragile window, the very first moments after waking, our brain is wide open, highly impressionable, and desperately in need of clarity. By flooding it with chaotic information from social media or emails, we surrender our most powerful state of mind to the demands of others before we even touch our own goals. This is where the downfall begins, and most people never notice it. They enter the day not guided by intention, but hijacked by distractions disguised as updates. What starts as just a quick check becomes a spiral of reactive energy, answering messages, comparing oneself to the carefully curated lives of others, or getting trapped in endless loops of news that provoke worry or irritation. By the time they finally turn toward their own work, Their mental energy has already been scattered, their focus diluted, and their sense of control weakened. They are no longer the authors of their day. They are merely responders, reacting to the noise of the world. And when this cycle repeats morning after morning, it conditions the brain to expect chaos, to crave distraction, and to avoid the deep, quiet focus that true success demands. What's worse is how deceptively natural this feels. People tell themselves, "I'm just catching up," or "I need to know what's happening." They mistake reaction for responsibility, and in doing so, they slowly give away the most sacred part of the day, the beginning. Scientists and high performers alike have long known that the brain's early hours hold the greatest potential for clarity, creativity, and decision-making. This is the time when your mind is fresh, untainted, and capable of profound breakthroughs. But by handing it over to the chaos of digital distraction, you effectively poison the well from which all your energy will flow. Imagine what shifts if you resist this pull. Instead of opening your phone, you open a notebook. Instead of scrolling through feeds, you breathe deeply, reflect, or set an intention for the day. Instead of consuming noise, you cultivate silence. In that silence, you begin to notice what truly matters, to connect with your own priorities before the world intrudes. And slowly you train your mind not to crave stimulation, but to embrace focus. That is where power begins, not in reacting, but in choosing. The tragedy is not that people lack time, but that they spend the most precious moments of their day handing it away for free. Breaking this single habit, the reflex to drown your morning in distraction, can reclaim not just hours, but the very quality of your life. It is a choice between beginning your day in power or in weakness, between creating your future or surrendering it. And the difference lies in what you choose to do the moment you open your eyes. Multitasking has become a badge of honor in our modern culture, a symbol of efficiency and intelligence, yet it is one of the most insidious enemies of true productivity. We pride ourselves on juggling emails while attending meetings, scrolling through updates while drafting reports, believing that the more we do at once, the more we achieve. But the reality is far different. Each time we split our attention, we fracture our focus, forcing the brain to constantly switch contexts. Science shows that task switching is costly. Every interruption imposes a cognitive tax that slows performance, reduces retention, and increases mental fatigue. What feels like progress is often a mirage, a deceptive illusion that masks inefficiency, stress, and shallow output. Even more subtle is the effect of fragmented focus on creativity and problem solving. Our brains need extended periods of deep concentration to connect ideas, form insights, and produce meaningful results. Multitasking deprives us of these periods, scattering our attention across multiple threads, leaving us with half-baked thoughts and unfinished tasks. It is not just a matter of time lost. It is the erosion of the mind's capacity to think, imagine, and innovate. People who fall into this trap often find themselves exhausted at the end of the day, having been busy all along, yet achieving far less than they envisioned. Notifications and constant digital interruptions amplify the problem. Each ping, alert, or pop-up is a micro-invasion, hijacking attention and forcing a shift away from the work that truly matters. Research indicates it takes nearly 20 minutes to regain deep focus after a single distraction. Imagine this repeated dozens of times a day, a relentless erosion of mental energy that leaves you drained before you realize it. Most of us have unknowingly normalized this chaos, believing that responding instantly is a virtue, that staying connected is essential, when in fact, it fragments the very essence of our productivity. Breaking free from this cycle requires conscious effort and deliberate strategies. Single tasking is the antidote to distraction, a radical commitment to complete one task at a time, fully and deliberately. Time blocking, a technique employed by high performers, involves dedicating uninterrupted spans of focused work to specific priorities, creating pockets of mental clarity and sustained energy. Silence your notifications, define windows for communication, and give your mind the space it needs to operate at its highest level. These are not just efficiency hacks. They are the foundations of mastery, the difference between shallow busyness and meaningful achievement. The transformation begins with awareness. Recognize the ways your attention is siphoned by multitasking and digital noise, and make the choice to reclaim it. Treat each task as sacred. Guard your focus fiercely, and approach your work with intentionality rather than reaction. In doing so, you create a rhythm where deep work is possible, where ideas flourish, and where progress becomes tangible and measurable. The world will demand your attention relentlessly, but the power to decide what deserves it and when rests entirely with you. Productivity, creativity, and fulfillment are born in the spaces where you choose depth over dispersion, focus over frenzy, and presence over perpetual distraction. Working nonstop has become a quiet badge of pride in our culture. The longer you sit at your desk, the more emails you send. The later you stay up finishing tasks, the more it seems you are proving your dedication, your ambition, and your discipline. But beneath this surface of busyness lies a hidden cost that few acknowledge until it is too late. Continuous work without breaks exhausts the mind, depletes motivation, and slowly corrodes the very creativity and clarity that drive success. We are not machines, and the human brain cannot sustain peak performance indefinitely. Without deliberate pauses, the quality of our output diminishes even as the hours accumulate. The irony is stark. The more we push, the less we truly achieve. Welcome to the channel, Daily Success Hacks. In the pursuit of relentless productivity, one of the most overlooked pillars is rest. Breaks are not interruptions, they are the fuel for high-functioning cognition. Scientific studies show that even short pauses, taken intentionally, restore attention, enhance problem-solving abilities, and strengthen memory retention. Techniques like the Pomodoro method, 25 minutes of focused work followed by 5 minutes of intentional rest, demonstrate that structure in breaks amplifies productivity rather than detracts from it. These micro-recoveries prevent burnout, sustain energy, and create a rhythm in which the mind can operate at its best, consistently and sustainably. Equally critical, yet even more often ignored, is the role of sleep. Quality sleep is the ultimate productivity enhancer, a natural reset for both body and mind. Skipping sleep, cutting corners on rest, or undervaluing its importance is akin to showing up intoxicated to every challenge of the day. Without 7 to 8 hours of deep restorative sleep, focus falters, decision-making suffers, and emotional regulation diminishes. The brain's ability to synthesize information, recognize patterns, and generate creative solutions is profoundly compromised. Sleep is not a luxury. It is a non-negotiable requirement for anyone who seeks to perform at the highest level. Protect it as if it were your most critical appointment, because in many ways, it is. The danger lies in the deceptive narrative we tell ourselves, that working harder, longer, and faster equals success. It does not. Real achievement arises from aligning effort with strategy, focus with recovery, and intensity with rest. When we disregard breaks and sleep, we sacrifice sustainability for illusionary productivity, mistaking busyness for progress. True mastery requires the courage to step back, to honor the natural cycles of energy, and to create space for reflection and renewal. It is in these pauses that insight, innovation, and resilience are cultivated. Imagine a day where every period of work is intentional, every break is purposeful, and every night of sleep is protected and deep. This is not fantasy. It is a deliberate practice that separates high performers from the perpetually exhausted. By embracing rest as a strategic component of productivity, you reclaim control over your time, sharpen your focus, and preserve the mental and physical energy required to pursue meaningful goals. The choice is yours. Continue chasing hours at the cost of effectiveness, or honor the rhythms that enable sustained, extraordinary performance. Mastery, clarity, and true accomplishment emerge not from relentless effort alone, but from the balance between work, pause, and restoration. At the heart of true productivity lies a simple yet profound truth. It is not about doing more, but about doing what truly matters. After identifying the habits that silently drain your energy, reclaiming control becomes a matter of deliberate choice and disciplined action. Eliminating distractions, focusing deeply, honoring breaks, and protecting sleep are not just strategies. They are commitments to yourself, to the life you want to create. When you embrace these principles, Each day transforms from a series of reactive motions into purposeful steps toward your goals. The power of small, consistent actions cannot be overstated. Choosing to start the morning intentionally, to dedicate uninterrupted blocks of time to your most important work, and to step away when your mind needs restoration creates a rhythm where achievement flows naturally. These are not quick fixes, but sustainable practices that compound over time. As you implement them, you will notice a shift. Tasks that once felt overwhelming become manageable, clarity replaces mental fog, and energy that was previously scattered now channels toward meaningful outcomes. Change begins with awareness, but it is cemented through action. Look at your daily routines and ask yourself which habits you are willing to let go and which ones you will nurture to foster growth. Each decision you make, no matter how small, is a declaration of control over your time, your focus, and ultimately your destiny. Productivity is no longer a measure of busyness, but a reflection of intentional living. By removing the barriers that silently sabotage your potential, you open the door to a life of purpose, mastery, and fulfillment. The choice is yours, and the moment to act is now. As we come to the close of this discussion, it becomes clear that productivity is far more than a measure of time spent or tasks completed. It is a reflection of intention, focus, and the mindful cultivation of habits that support our goals rather than undermine them. The journey through these hidden productivity killers, the morning dive into distractions, the lure of multitasking, the constant interruptions of notifications, the relentless push without rest, and the neglect of sleep, has shown us that what appears to be efficiency on the surface often masks a deeper inefficiency. By recognizing these patterns, we gain the ability to reclaim control over our days and ultimately our lives. The lessons here are not theoretical. They are practical, actionable, and immediately applicable. The deepest insight we can draw from this exploration is that small, conscious adjustments to daily routines have exponential effects on our overall effectiveness. Starting the day intentionally rather than reactively, dedicating blocks of time to focused work, allowing for restorative breaks, and respecting the power of sleep are all measures that compound to produce clarity, energy, and consistent results. These practices transform the experience of work from a series of reactive motions into a purposeful, high-impact journey. When we act with intention, we do not simply move through our schedules. We craft our days with precision, aligning actions with our values and long-term objectives. This alignment between conscious choice and meaningful activity is the cornerstone of true success. Applying these lessons in your own life begins with awareness, but requires deliberate implementation. Examine the moments when your focus is scattered or your energy dissipates. Identify the habits that no longer serve you and replace them with intentional routines that preserve mental clarity and foster sustained motivation. Begin with one change at a time, whether it is committing to a distraction-free morning, practicing single-task focus, scheduling breaks, or prioritizing restorative sleep. Notice the impact of each adjustment and allow your successes to guide the next steps in building a framework of productivity that works uniquely for you. Over time, these deliberate choices become second nature, forming a lifestyle that empowers you to act with purpose, reach goals more effectively, and enjoy the journey rather than merely endure it. Here's a question for you. Which one of these 5 productivity habits do you find most challenging to change, and why? Please share your thoughts in the comments below so everyone can benefit from your perspective. And don't forget to subscribe to Daily Success Hacks to support the channel and help us continue creating valuable content that guides you toward a more focused, intentional, and successful life.